Welcome to the Windows and Computer channel, and we're going to talk about a few little things that we have learned a little more thanks to the Microsoft Build Conference. It has to do with two things. First of all, the famous Microsoft Store, and the second is about Universal Windows Platform apps that, of course, usually came through the Microsoft Store. What we learned today is that Microsoft kind of admits finally that first of all, the Universal Windows Platform apps are kind of a failure. They're uniting all of that back into doing, of course, what is Win32 apps if you want. So what they're telling developers is that the Universal Windows Platform apps are not really the thing anymore. It's not going away because there's still some things that make it that still has to go through that phase, especially for some devices like HoloLens, for example. And there are aspects of programming that and apps that sometimes will need still to rely on that. But when it's possible, they're talking about unifying all of that into one better way of actually having apps and programs on Windows. So that when they announced the Universal Platform apps, that of course made a lot of noise, and a lot of the developers didn't really like it, and it didn't really catch on because it was not thought of also really well, and it wasn't that universal. It worked on Windows, but it was depending on the type of Windows and what Windows and Windows on ARM, and it was kind of, that one unified platform was something that they were talking about that finally isn't really working, if you want. The other thing is the fact that the Microsoft Store is also something they're talking about at Build today. They're kind of telling everybody, look, you don't have to do apps for the Microsoft Store. Once again, the Microsoft Store is not going away. It's still there. You still can get apps, and you can still check stuff in there. But it's not a priority anymore at Microsoft. So that means that, going forward, I expect that more and more apps and programs and games are going to come outside of this rather than within this. Almost all the games and all the things that came in here, most of them were either Microsoft driven or, there were really not a lot of developers wanting to use the store for installing apps. And one of the things that's very simple here is that for a long time, and we've always been used to downloading programs from the web and installing them with the installer and following the instructions, and that of course still exists today. So a lot of developers kind of continued and preferred to use that, not counting the fact that if they use the store, they have to give a percentage to Microsoft and stuff like that. So, it never really caught on that much. So there's a collection of apps and games in there, but overall it's nothing compared to the regular downloads and programs that you can get from outside of the store. So it's not a priority. Microsoft did say, no priority anymore in the Microsoft Store. This is something that we're not going to push anymore. So interesting future here in Windows with some of the technologies and some of the things that was the basics of Windows 10 in 2015 when all of this started, that is kind of moving away. And I think it's a good thing that Microsoft can acknowledge that as we move forward, we'll be moving into a different way of doing things on Windows 10. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.